and layer it on top of the CPU.
This was a bad idea. I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I'm sorry. Hello, my name is Jay, and today we're going to be following The Verge's guide to build a $2,000 custom gaming PC to a fine toothpick and comb, because there's been a lot of discussion on how bad it is, and I guess we really should see what happens when we build a regular person, we'll assume that's me, builds a gaming PC. And obviously, if you've watched any of my other videos, if you know who I am, I do a whole bunch of computer-related tech videos, and this is going to be something different for me because I've actually got to try not do the habits that I'm used to. Like, I know some of the stuff in this video I'll have to be really careful that I follow it, because I'm just going to get in the habit of building a computer and just follow things how I'm used to doing. But that's basically what we're going to do in today's video, is just go through and do everything exactly, follow every little detail exactly, and see how far it gets us. Because I have a junk system here, so this is not going to be anything that's damaged. Oh well, too bad of a big deal. This is my test system, but it's a junk system, so it's not that big of a deal if it does break. But yeah, we're going to follow this, and we're going to see where it gets us. So without further ado, let's get into the building of the computer. So I have the video queued up on this laptop over here. I've got it all plugged in and stuff. You'll hear it. Also play it in the side, so you can see it as well, what I'm seeing. We're going to build it here. Couple of side things though is the parts are not identical, but let's be honest, it really doesn't particularly matter if the parts are completely identical. Obviously these are a little bit older, but we're just here for how to build a computer, right? So it shouldn't really matter if this is a guide to how to build a $2,000 custom gaming PC. This was $2,000 at one time. It really doesn't matter. So without further ado, let's get into building the PC. So here we go. Just start off.
So a few years ago, TC, our managing editor, built a gaming desktop, but it's kind of out of date, and it's definitely not going to hold up for Battlefield 5. So let's build a new one.
Okay, I like the edits.
You can build a gaming desktop for around $1,000, but I want to go all out, so I spent around $2,000. A PC like this is going to be able to play most games at ultra settings. So what do you need to build a desktop? Well,
so we need a GeForce GTX 1080. Oh well, this 680 will have to work.
PC like this is going to be able to play most games at ultra settings. So what do you need to build a desktop? Well, of course, first you need a table. Preferably not metal. If it's going to be metal, have an anti-static working surface layered on top of it, a thermal paste applicator, an Allen wrench, some tweezers to tighten up the wires, a Swiss Army knife which hopefully has a Phillips head screwdriver in it, tighten up the wires, a Swiss Army knife which hopefully has a Phillips head screwdriver in it, and last but not least, an anti-static bracelet which is to protect you and the parts. These are the parts you're going to need, but more importantly, before we get there, we need to understand what these parts...
We need to get all the materials real quick. Okay, anti-static wrist bracelet. Oh, it's so dusty. Oh well, that hasn't been used in a couple years. Yeah, anti-static wrist bracelet. It doesn't look identical, but I think it will work fine. If you guys have ever watched the video where I built my first computer, I learned hard and well that that's not an anti-static wristband. At least this one didn't do anything. His doesn't even have anywhere to put it. Like, okay, I'll put mine there because I know what I'm doing. Okay.
Understand what these parts are doing and how they interact with one another. To better understand the parts that make up a desktop, let's try to understand them individually. The processor is like the computer's brain, a base of calculations that control everything the computer does. The motherboard is like the foundation, serving as a main structure for all other parts to be added to. It also allows the other parts to communicate with one another, which also makes it kind of like a nervous system. Graphics cards are responsible for rendering and processing visuals into what you see on screen. Our PC's power supply is, of course, channeling electricity.
What graphics card is... I'm a little confused on this. If the shielding's on this side... I mean, he's not wrong. Okay. Don't know what graphics card you're using, but okay.
We have a lot of boxes and a lot of PC parts, so it's best you unbox them, isolate the parts that you really need, place items into the case, and make sure that they all fit, and then start working. And now we're really going to start building by adding the motherboard in. Some notes about installing motherboards: they're really delicate, you should be really careful with them. And screw in with confidence, but also don't screw in too hard, otherwise you could crack the board. I chose Asus's Z370 motherboard for two main reasons. One, it has built-in Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, and also it has support for NVMe SSDs, meaning you can get really...
I hope you guys won't mind. I'm not going to put a Wi-Fi card on this because I like Ethernet. Yeah, I prefer Ethernet. Sorry, making that comment. Hope you guys don't mind.
Fast SSDs that are really easy to install. Pay close attention to the brace that goes at the back of the computer. You always have to make sure that you really hammer it in, because there's no screw. It really just has to go outside of the case and clasp onto the frame. And this is very important because otherwise you can't align the motherboard correctly with the holes. We're just going to start installing all 8 screws.
Okay, so we gotta start doing this now. We're going to put our lovely anesthetic wristband onto another system, and we'll get into building. Okay. So, let's build our system. First off, we need to lay everything down and get the system inside. So, here we go. I've got screws somewhere over here. Okay, it's time to put this inside. So we've got to line it up, but we don't have an I/O shield. Have we put the processor in yet? Okay. I got goosebumps now. Hope it don't break anything. No bent pins either. Okay, we gotta screw this in now. I have a trusty screwdriver. That's also about the only tool that I'm going to be using today. I gotta make sure I'm doing this right, because... Okay, today's video is gonna be fun. I'm making sure I follow this. This is gonna hurt. This hurts, but I'm following it. Okay. For the sake of this video, I'm only going to screw in 2 of these to the motherboard to hold it down, because I'll be taking it off in about 30 seconds. For the sake of this video, to save me a slight bit of sanity, please don't get upset at that. I'm going to just for the sanity, I'm going to just screw in 2, just so it can be supported and stuff. You know, you don't want stuff sliding around, but you also don't want to be screwing in 8 or 9 screws. Be doing it right over again. Okay.
Line the motherboard correctly with the holes. We're just going to start installing all 8 screws. So next we're going to install the RAM on the motherboard.
Okay.
I chose Corsair's 16GB Vengeance LED RAM
data
for 2 main reasons. One, it has LEDs and we do like lights in our gaming desktops. Secondly, it's pretty fast RAM. It's 2666 megahertz, I believe. So it's pretty fast, and this motherboard supports that speed, which is most important. Open the slots first, and just aligning the stick with the middle of the strip, not with the end, and just lining that up with the logo. So once you hear that solid clasp and you don't see the gold connectors on the side anymore, that's when you know the RAM is in. Step 3, we're going to install the hard drive, or in this case, the NVMe SSD.
I don't have one of those,
I chose this format of solid state drive so that I could input it into the motherboard without having to worry about extra wires or putting it in a separate part of the case and just getting really messy.
It's all wired.
Okay, so step 4, we're going to install the graphics card. I chose PNY's GTX 1080, which is overclocked. And so it's a pretty easy installation. You're just going to find the gold connectors, and you're going to line this bracket with the back end bracket of your PC case. Now, which lane you choose depends entirely on what other parts you're going to put in the system. I'm just going to pick the top one because the SSD is at the bottom.
I'm going to assume we unscrew the I/O shield and take that out, and unscrew the screws.
Click down. Take your remaining brackets and just put them in the spots that you haven't.
Oh, so we've already taken off the brackets. I must have missed that video. I must have missed that part. My bad. That must have been my doing. I must have missed that part of the video. Okay. So, there we go. Put this in there. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Okay, I'm not unscrewing that in. You'll see in a second as well. We're gonna load. YouTube's buffering.
You don't have to screw these in. They get bolted down by the back end bracket. And you just use installed.
Okay.
Power supply time. I chose Corsair's 850 watt power supply because I need enough headroom for ray tracing GPUs when they come out, and I don't want to have to upgrade it again. So all you have to do is take the brick and make sure that you align it with these little insulators.
I dug it out of the trash, so it's not labeled that, but it's I dug it out of the trash a couple places. So
pads, so the power supply doesn't short circuit and come into contact with the rest of the system. So just take it in.
I don't have rubber pads on the bottom.
Nice and easy until you have a snug
I don't have rubber
fit,
pads on the bottom.
and then shift it to the back and make sure it's right up against the frame. Now you just take the required screws and you tighten and screw in. So next step, we're going to install the CPU core. In this case, it's going to go on the top end of the case, and we're just going to have the hose hang out for a little while until we install the processor, which is going to come a little later. Always be sure to try to place it in the system first before you install it, because you can see it takes up a lot of space. But in this case, no pun intended, it fits in perfectly, and we're going to start screwing it in. And so there's nothing special about this screwing in process. They're just really long screws because they go through the entire frame of the cooler, and they take forever. So next up, cables. Every power supply is going to come with a big bag of Velcro cables. It's kind of daunting at first, so you always have to find the ones that are going to fit.
Non-modular power supply.
In this case, you need to match those cables with the correct descriptions on the power supply. The next step is we're connecting the power supply to the motherboard with a 24-pin cable. We're just matching that cable from the motherboard, threading it through the back, and attaching the 24-pin header to the power supply so that we can have one of the connections complete. The next few additions will be for the GPU, for any specific ports that the case has, for any lighting that the case has, the CPU cooler, anything else really. We're installing the CPU, the heart of the computer or the brain, depending on how you look at it. So to do this, we're just going to remove the plastic covering that they put on the motherboard.
To hide the pins.
We're just going to take this little plastic part out. Just toss
you better say match the triangle.
And now we have an exposed CPU holder, or rather slot, on the motherboard. And we're going to use the CPU applicator. This is a special little part that not everyone may get, but this motherboard that we got from ASUS definitely does have. It's called a CPU installation tool. It makes it really useful if you want to install a Core i7 hexa-core CPU. Yeah, we've got one, and it's an 8th generation chip, and it's ready to go. And it supports overclocking. So what having this little installer does for you is it's basically a brace that you can apply right to the CPU and light it up with the triangles that you'll see on the bottom left corners. And this will make it easier for us to apply it to the motherboard and then apply thermal paste and then apply a CPU.
So we don't have anything about the triangle.
And we're just going to carefully lean it down into the system and make sure that everything lines up. And we're going to clasp down on it and we'll be good to go.
Applied. Let's go.
So we're about to apply thermal paste to the CPU. Every CPU cooler actually comes with a bit of thermal paste already neatly applied in a circle around it, but it's usually not enough. It's good, essentially PC building practice to have a little bit extra and layer it on top of the CPU.
This was a bad idea. I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I'm sorry. Okay, so before we get farther in this video, I need to put the bottom pins on here so I can at least mount the cooler. Yeah, I'm going to do that real quick because I need to do that because this video is not going to be, you're not going to have a built PC. We've already established that this video is not enough to build a PC off of. I think that's what we've already established. But today we're going to I'm just going to fix the things that weren't included in this video. I understand every PC is different, so I'm going to assume that that's what they meant, that you just fix the stuff that you're supposed to fix. I'm going to, for the sake of this video, and sake for my sanity, we know that he applies the cooler. I gotta put the thermal paste on, like he does. Okay, I'm sorry guys, the following content is just going to be, for the sake of also this video, I gotta do it outside the case, because this cooler cannot be mounted inside. I'm sorry, it's just not happening, the way that the pins work and stuff. So, my apologies to everybody watching. This is for my fans. This is going to take every bit of. Actually, I'm just gonna leave these out for now and apply the thermal paste. Let me grab the thermal paste, guys. Forgive me, everybody that's watching. I'm sorry. Okay, guys, here we are. Thermal paste application time, boys. Now you can tell this is not the cleanest thing, but we didn't really say that we needed to clean this, so that was not specified in the video. Got to make the nice little hexagon diamond shape thingy. Oh yeah. Make sure we have a nice air bubble in the center. Oh, forgive me, Gaben. Yep, perfect. Exactly how it looks in the video. Oh my gosh. Okay. Perfect. We are good now. Okay. So, time to apply the cooler. For everybody that's watching at home, please be aware that I am, sorry Mom. Just sorry, this is too painful. Why did I even... Okay, well, you know, you had to do it to prove that it wasn't enough. Had to be proven. Can't argue there. It had to be proven. Okay. Was it really worth it, though? Okay, now we get to mount everything back real quick. Put this on there.
The final portion is to add the CPU cooler to the top end of the processor. So you're gonna see that there are 4 brackets, or rather like screws in here with brackets and holders right here. And they're going to keep the cooler raised off the processor, but it's also gonna be close enough to actually physically come in contact with it, like basically keep it cool. Take thumb screws like this and just screw them on. So now that our internals are done, we're going to put all the panels back on, which is the top glass, side glass, front glass, and of course the back panel where all of this fun stuff is happening. So we fully built the PC, everything's put together, and we got to the post screen. So what's next? Well, you need a USB flash drive with your Windows installation media on it, and of course a license key. So I plugged that up, installed Windows in a couple of minutes, installed a bunch of drivers, and now we have a fully functioning gaming PC ready to run some games. Right now I've got Arma 3 running at maximum settings, native resolution.
Okay. PC. Cable management. Non-existent. I'm sorry, I need a moment. Give me a sec. This video has already been too much. Okay, I think we're good. Okay, side panel. We followed the Verge's video, guys. Hope y'all are happy. You better like this, cause better like this video. This better get a lot of views, cause this gotta be worth it. We did it, boys. Cable management. Let's get it to post now. Here we go. Where's the... So we built The Verge's $2,000 gaming PC. Exactly how they told us to. And it would not post. So, I've got a lot of cleaning up to do. And this video is going to scar me. I apologize to anybody that's watched this far, but I would really appreciate a like, at least a like on the video if this was, because this was hard to make. Let me be honest, this was a really hard video to make. So I'd ask that if you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. I really do feel like it's a Yeah, it's hard to make. I'm sorry. It was really hard to make. But thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this, then make sure you give it a thumbs up, and also check out the channel for other cool tech-related things that are actually PC building. And yeah, thank you very much for watching.